الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله قال الله تعالى يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا قال الله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما قال الله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون ثم أما بعد فإن خير أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي وهدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار بلغ الرسالة وعد الأمانة وكشف الغمة ونصح الأمة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين. We start by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We send blessings and salutations to our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his family and his companions and all his followers until the end of time. Inshallah, today I want to take this little moment to remind myself and other brothers and sisters regarding the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are unaware of. Mostly, frequently, we don't understand the value of this ni'mah, which is time, the spare time, the free time. Especially this holiday season, when the schools are off, the offices are closed, most people are off from their work, so they have lots of free time. Sometimes you don't know what to do with the free times. People come and ask, how do I kill my free times? How do I kill my spare times? How do I pass time? Not realizing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in a hadith Qudsi, Prophet said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, he said, Ana ad-dahr, I am the time. Not realizing that, we will not kill the time. And we do say this thing, how do I kill the time? I have lots of free time. Not realizing this is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can utilize this time we can utilize this free time to learn about deen and religion. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding. The blessings of time is one of the greatest blessings that Allah can bestow upon His slaves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even swears by the time in the Quran. He says, wal asr, by the time. So it's such an important thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran and He swore by it. So it's not something we can kill. Not something we will not pass. This is not something that is just nothing to do. SubhanAllah. Because of the importance of the blessing and blessings of this time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this in the Quran. Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, he said, عن ابن عباس قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم اعتنم خمسا قبل خمس شبابك قبل حرامك وصحتك قبل سقمك وغناك قبل فقرك وفراغك قبل سغولك وحياتك قبل موتك. Ibn Abbas did not report. He said, Prophet ﷺ said, take advantage of 5 before 5. So pay attention to this hadith carefully. He said, Prophet ﷺ said, take advantage of 5 before 5. Your youth before your old age, your health before your illness, your wealth, you become rich before your poverty, and your free time before you work, and your life before your death. So among these 5 important things, one of them is your free time before you become busy. So this is something Prophet ﷺ instructed us to utilize. He said he paid extra emphasis on these 5 points. Among them, one of them is to put extra emphasis on the time, free time, the spare time we have before you become busy. In another hadith, Prophet ﷺ mentioned, he said, Allah Azza wa Jal, يؤذيني ابن آدم يسب الدهر وأنا الدهر وأنا الدهر بيد الأمر أقلب الليل والنهار. Prophet ﷺ said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, the son of Adam wrongs me. The son of Adam wrongs me by cursing ad-dahr, the time. People curse time. Oh, my time is bad. Such a bad time. I'm in the worst time. I'm in the worst situation. I'm in the, people curse time. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, He said, though I am ad-dahr, I am the time. And in my hands, I'm the one who changed the day and night. And my hand, the revolution of day and night. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, I am time. Don't curse time. Especially free times, we cannot curse free times. We have to utilize our free times accordingly. But most people are unaware of the importance of these blessings and are neglectful of the duties towards it, namely to fill it. They're filled with acts of gratitude and obedience towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't realize that we can fill this time with gratitude and learning Islam and Deen and learning about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Prophet mentioned, he said, نعمتان مغبون فيهما كثير من الناس الصحة والفراغ. There are 2 blessings which many people are unaware of. The 2 blessings, the blessings you only know, the rizq. The blessings you only think is the wealth. The blessings you only think is our family, the wife and kids. Also, Allah's Prophet said the 2 blessings that people are mostly unaware of is the health and the time, free time. So these are the blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you have free time, that's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to learn something. Maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to do something. Maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you free time so that you can do something for the betterness of the community. Maybe only you can do something that nobody else can do. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you free time. But this is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Tibi said, Prophet ﷺ likened the Muslims to a merchant who has capital and seeks to make a profit whilst also preserving his capital. Prophet ﷺ compared a Muslim to a businessman who has his capital, but he also want to profit. And then he instructed the way to do that is to look for the right people to deal with. So how do they do? They have to deal with the right people. And he himself will be honest and will try to be smart lest he be cheated. So you have to make business accordingly. You have to deal with the right people, and you have to be honest people, you have to be an honest man. And then he said, good health and free times are our capital. The way a businessman has his capital, that good health and free times are our capital. And we're going to get profit out of it. So how do we do? The way the businessman deals with the good people, and he needs to be honest, same thing, we have to utilize our time knowledgeably. accordingly, Islamically. We can't utilize our free time by watching TV and playing games and being busy with the gadget, electronic gadget, and that's what we all do. When we use the cell phones, we use the cell phone for hours and hours and hours. The charge ran out and we put the charger on and we keep using it. Tablets, computer, games, laptops. We've been very busy with the gadgets. The kids, youngs, adults, men, women, everybody. We waste our free time. Sometimes people watch the movies or series and they watch for 10 hours, 15 hours. I know kids, they play for 15, 20 hours and they sleep for 10, 15, 20 hours. They don't know where the world going, where the nights and going, how the nights comes and day comes. They have no idea. That's why we're keeping ourselves busy. Everybody, young, adult, male, female, all of us. We don't know how to use our free times. When we have free times, as though we are granted this weekend, especially the kids who are free from school the weekend, then they're going, but I'm free. What can I do? They don't know what to do. They ask, what can I do? If I don't use the tablets, what can I do? Sometimes my kid comes and tells me, what can I do? I have nothing to do. I have no school, I have nothing to do. So they don't know. And we cannot teach them because we don't even know what to do. The day we are off, we sleep for 10 hours, 12 hours. We don't know what to do. We don't understand this is the blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can utilize this time. And he said, At-Tibi said, this is similar to what is mentioned in the passage where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhal lazina amanu, hal adullukum ala tijaratin tunjikum min azabin alim. Or you have believed, shall I guide you to a transaction that will save you from a painful punishment? So the scholars, they compare this hadith with the free time, that shouldn't we be guided? Shouldn't we know that how to spend our free times? So we should know how to spend our free times, how to utilize our spare times. We should avoid following the dictates of the nafs and keep away from the shaitan, lest we lose both our capital and our profit. We should not do something that we lose both our capital and our profit. And it happens that you are watching movies throughout the night. Just before the Fajr, 5 minutes before Fajr, you fall asleep. And that happens randomly, quite often to almost so many people. They're using the gadgets, they're using the tablets, phone, computer, and they fall asleep before Fajr. And so shaitan is keeping us busy in worldly affairs and taking us away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just because we don't have knowledge about how to spend the free times. What is the importance of free times, the spare times? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding. In a long hadith in Bukhari, Muaz ibn Jabal, he said, he was talking to another Sahaba and he said, ثم تذكرنا قيام الليل فقال أحدهما أما أنا فأقوم وأنام وأرجو في نومتي ما أرجو في قومتي. And it's a long hadith, and he said, Muaz was telling his companions, he said, then we discussed the night prayers, and one of us said, I pray and I sleep, and I hope that Allah will reward me for my sleep as well as for my prayer. So from this hadith you can understand, we can use our spare time in a permissible manner. You have one day off, that doesn't mean you 24 hours you recite Quran, the 24 hours you start memorizing Quran and try to memorize Quran. No, nobody can do that. So what you can do? You can sleep, you can take a nap, you can eat, you can use the restroom, you can do shower, whatever the permissible way you can spend your time. But that doesn't mean you among 24 hours, 12 hours you play computer and then 12 hours you are busy yourself in the games. No, you can do permissible things. Like the Sahaba, he said, Muaz ibn Jabal, he said, he was talking about the night prayer. He said, we sleep for a little, and then we get up, we pray a little, and then we sleep again a little. And he said, I hope Allah will make my sleeping also rewardable. So we can do that too, we can hope that too. If I am reciting Quran, if I am trying to memorize the surah, this weekend I'm off. So what I can do, I can start memorizing the surah. After 1 hour, 2 hours, I get tired. So I can get some rest. And then after 2-3 hours, again I can start memorizing this surah. So what will happen? Maybe inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make my free time, the time I was sleeping, I was napping, maybe Allah will make it rewardable to me too. Inshallah. So what's our problem with the problem that we're suffering nowadays is causing from several things. Number one, we do not understand the value of time. This is true of many people as stated above. Even worse than that, by neglecting these great blessings, our spare time has become something destructive. And we regard it as enemy. Like I said, we regard the spare time as an enemy. And we want to kill it. And people will say, how do I kill my spare time? And I'm sure those who are teachers, principals, parents, you have experience that people come to you and say, how do I kill my spare times? They want to kill the spare times. They want to kill the ni'mah, the blessings. And we talk to each other too. Man, I have so much free time. How do I kill my free time? As though it is our enemy. We want to kill the free times? It's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't even understand or realize the value of the free times, the ni'mah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding. Second, we feel depressed. And there is no doubt that wasting one's time and one's life causes deep depression in their life. If you are keeping yourself busy with television, TV, games, and worldly affairs, keeping away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, eventually you will feel depressed. And that's what happened to non-Muslims. They don't know what to do. They have nothing to do after a while. And they commit suicide. So that's what will happen to us if we are not careful. If we don't understand the value of the time. And then the scholar said, because he feels that he is like an animal that eats so he can sleep, and he sleeps so he can eat. We don't want to be like that. That we eat so that we can sleep. And we get up from sleep so that we can eat. For some people, this is the life. They are busy themselves, they keep themselves busy with the worldly affairs, and they go sleep, they get tired, they sleep, and they wake up and they start again, the same thing. That's not what we are for, here for. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us for His worshipping. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Not except for worship, nothing else, only for worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the goal. That's what we should keep ourselves busy in. If we understand the value of time, we should jump from one act of worship to another act of worship. Okay, I did Fajr, now I have to memorize Quran. I did memorize Quran, okay, I have to recite some hadith maybe. I have to learn some rulings, so I have to understand some books. I have to read some books. Okay, I'm tired now, so let's sleep for a while. Let's take a nap. And then when you get up, you listen to some shows, listen to some lectures. That's how we can jump from one act of worship to another act of worship. If we want to spare our free times. If we want to, use our free times. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us safe and sound from that with which He has tested them. One of the primary causes of depression is disobedience towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Undoubtedly, the watching TV and the worldly affairs, keeping yourself in worldly affairs, leads a person to commit sin, such as watching and listening to haram things. And when we watch TV, playing games, watching YouTube, it will lead you to the haram things. Of course, you listen to music. Of course, you will look at the, fahisha things, the unlawful things, and you will fall into the haram things. The benefits that a person can gain by joining a halaqah or memorizing Quran or trying to learn some Islamic affairs, some Islamic matter, are largely cancelled out by watching those gadgets, by keeping yourself busy with the gadgets. The benefits of learning will be cancelled out. Like if you don't recite Quran and if you're watching TV, then reciting Quran is cancelled out. If you're not reading an Islamic book and you're watching TV, that means you are cancelling your reading time. So that's the sin is erasing your good deeds. The sin is overcoming your good deeds. Just as good deeds erases bad deeds, the bad deeds also causes the good deeds to be lost. How? You're busy yourself with the games, that's why you're not praying salat. Your bad deeds are making you lose your good deeds. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المؤمنين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. And then, when we give up with regard to the time and one has no determination to fill his time with beneficial things, that's another problem. So in order to solve this problem, we must strive to achieve the following. I'm going to mention some points, inshallah, what we can do to utilize our spare times. Number one, doing act of worship, such as reciting zikr and asqar, praying, reading Quran, fasting and thinking about the signs and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now this point, thinking about the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm sure most of our people don't understand how do I contemplate the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran in multiple places to contemplate on His signs. How do we contemplate on the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What do you mean by that? If you only think about the human being, if you only think about the sun or the moon, every single day sun rises from the east side. It never happened that it did not rise from the east side. It never happened. So who is the one who is controlling these things? Every machine malfunctions. Every human being has error. Everything has error. But sun, it never delayed. Every single morning, from the beginning of the creation, it's coming from the east side. It's going down to the west side, setting in the west side. Who is the one who controlling this thing that never mistakes? So those are the signs. If you contemplate, you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is controlling this thing. There's got to be someone who is the Lord of everything. So that's how we can contemplate the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should pay special attention to the Quran. If we have spare time that we kill by watching TV and busying ourselves with the gadgets, why don't we use the time to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and read Quran? And memorize it as much as you can before you become burdened with the responsibilities of life. And it happened. You had 2 months of free time. You were laid off from your job. You had free times. For any reason, maybe you lost your business, maybe you failed in your class, maybe you lost your jobs. Any reason, you have free time, utilize it before you become busy again. So in this 1 month, 2 months, 1 week, 2 weeks, 2 days, 3 days, do something beneficial that will help you in the long run. Especially if we try to memorize Quran, if we try to recite Quran as much as you can. For reading each letter is a hasana. For each hasana brings a tenfold of reward, and each verse raises one's status and increases one's reward. The Prophet mentioned in the hadith, said, يقال لصاحب القرآن اقرأ وارتقي ورتل كما كنت ترتل. Prophet said, the one who was devoted to the Quran will be told in the day of judgment to recite and raise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, recite and raise. Keep reciting and going up. Where you will end up your recitation end up, that's your place in Jannah. So as much as you can recite, your place will be higher and higher and higher and higher. SubhanAllah. So Quran is something amazing. We can spend our time reciting Quran, memorizing Quran. We don't do that. I'm guilty of that too. I don't do that. We don't do that. We should try to do that. We should try to utilize our time accordingly. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding. And then adopt a cause affecting Muslims in the country where you live, such as helping to teach Muslim boys and girls, undertaking charitable projects and so on. This is very important. I have nothing to do. Well, think about something to do that will help the community. Maybe you have a skill, maybe you have a specialty that you can do, not everybody else can do. Then do something to help other people. In my free times, I have 2 weeks off. Well, do something in 2 weeks that only you can do. You have skills to do that not everybody can do that. So do something beneficial for the community. Do something beneficial for the other Muslims. We can use our spare time. Well, then you will see you have no spare times. Wallahi, people are the scholars. Our scholars, they read the books, they busy themselves in the learning 18 hours a day, 19 hours a day. One scholar said he studied 19 hours a day, and he sleeps only 2 and 3 hours. But they don't have time. For them, 24 hours, they wish if it could be 48 hours a day. For us, we want to kill time. How do I kill my time? How do I kill my spare time? And we wish if our day would be 10 hours. SubhanAllah. Find good and righteous friends with whom you can meet and get together. Why? So that you can learn something better. You can be with someone who reminds you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Instead, if you be with someone who take you to a bar, who take you to a club, who might take you to unnecessary places, and you will get away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't do that. We don't want to do that. So try to find a good companions who will remind you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Read Islamic books in particular and useful stories in general. We can learn about Prophet's life. We can learn about the seerah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But we don't do that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding. And then get involved in dawah activities and children's sports in Islamic Center. If you have free times, least you can do, come to masjid 5 times a day. Subhanallah, we have free times and we are sleeping all day. I'm free today. I don't have work today. I'm going to sleep today. And normally when you work, you might come to masjid 1 or 2 times. But if you're free, you're off, you're not coming a single time. Subhanallah. What you should do, least you can do, I can read books. I don't have books. I don't have access to the lectures. I don't have access to this and that. I can recite Quran. Well, come to masjid. If you come to masjid, there will be good people surrounding you. And you can talk to them. You can learn about Islam. You can learn about deen. At least you are in the masjid, in the good place, the best place of the earth. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us guidance. And learn some useful areas of worldly knowledge. If you're bored, you have nothing to do, learn something, some good skill that will help you in the worldly affairs, like driving, swimming, sewing, cooking for the sisters, or minds too. Learn something that will be beneficial for you in your worldly life. That will help you to understand your religion. It will help you to propagate your religion. Learn about computers, learn about the programming, if you can. The skill that will help you in the long run. And you should read some books which speak of the importance of the time and how to manage it. We should learn about the free times. We should learn about the importance of the free times. How do we spare our free times? If you want, if you can, read some books and learn about it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding. The Muslims cannot be lazy. The laziness should not be in the Muslims' character. But we are lazy. I'm the same guilty of like other people. We are lazy, but we cannot afford to be lazy. The Muslims cannot be lazy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught us a dua. He said, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal-hazani wal-ajzi wal-qasali wal-bukhli wal-jubni wa-dalai ad-dayni wa ghalawati al-rijali. And he said, Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from anxiety, sorrow, disability, laziness, and cowardice, miserliness, and burdens of death and depression of man. So he taught us the dua to seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so that we cannot be lazy. We don't want to be lazy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among the people who keep themselves busy with the Quran and the Islam and the religion and the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us guidance and success. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. ذكر الله الأكبر وأقيموا الصلاة.